How do you do? This is Trixie the Golden Witch, and you've made it to another episode of Yig Studios Vlogust, the show where I've been vlogging every single day all month because I turned 31, and there's 31 days in August, and I'm making a crazy, insane, life-changing announcement at the end of the month that if you miss, you will die. So don't do that. That would be foolish. I'm here with Nick. Hello.
Hi, Trixie. How are you?
I'm good. You are a friend who lives in town.
That is correct. I actually live in your shed.
You're also a writer.
That is correct. I've also been published. Tales to Terrify, episodes 320, 447. I have also been featured on video games, 2 fiction anthologies from Knights of the Northwest Dragon Band, and then my debut novella, Dragon Band Blood Tide, reached number 20 on Amazon's bestseller list.
Nice.
So,
congratulations. So, we're here to talk about anime.
Oh, yeah.
You said your favorite anime is Dragon Ball Z.
Hands down.
Who's your favorite character?
Gohan, no doubt.
Okay. Tell me about Gohan and why.
Alright, so, full, character background, or we,
just whatever your feelings about Gohan.
My feelings on Gohan? Alright, so I mean this completely unironically. I think he is one of the best written characters in all of fiction, up to a certain point, which I guess I'll get to. I think his character growth is one of the most compelling. Of course, Dragon Ball, the original series, follows the adventures of Son Goku.
Yep.
And then Dragon Ball Z was always meant to be a passing of the torch from Goku to Gohan.
Yeah.
But of course, the series starts off, Gohan is a very young child. He's 4 or 5. He's not the fighter that his father is. Mm-hmm. But that being said, he still has such raw, untapped potential. And I think it's just incredible how Akira Toriyama built this character up from kind of a whiny little pissant.
Right.
Who I watched the series from start up through the Cell Saga a couple years back with my girlfriend at the time, and she hated him from the word Gohan. Oh, he's such a whiny little brat.
He's 4.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I said. I was no, you wait. Because growth, of course. But no, how he goes from this whiny little brat, runs away during the Saiyan Saga when Nappa arrives, starts wrecking house. Again, can't really blame him. He's 4.
Yeah.
But how he goes from that, and then suddenly he's off in space, he's in Namek, and he's, standing toe-to-toe with, Frieza's 2nd or 3rd form.
Right.
And then, from that on through the Cell Saga, of course, he ultimately, steps up and surpasses his father and, ascends Super Saiyan 2. I saw that entire growth and how well it was so constructed. It's so organic, I guess. And then when, he reaches his peak at the end of the Cell Saga, it's it's such a great payoff. But then after that, they kind of, do the boy dirty, and the Buu Saga is a bit of a mess.
So how do you feel about the whole Great Saiyaman arc then?
It's fun, and the way Dragon Ball was fun, the original one, especially the early episodes where it's just all about adventure and kind of goofiness, general lightheartedness. But for what Dragon Ball Z had become up to that point, it just kind of felt out of place, and it seemed like Akira Toriyama was just kind of stalling, figuring out what do I do with this character?
Yeah, and then because it becomes a total clusterfuck of arcs after that.
Yeah,
everything just bleeds into each other until you get to Buu, and then it's this eternal Buu saga.
Yeah, and then and none of it really bleeds well into the next arc either, and none of the plot points connect. Mm-hmm. It's I don't know, Super Saiyan 3. Oh, that's so cool. And then it's not relevant to the defeat of Buu. Fusion, that's so dope. Our favorite characters can become one person.
Right.
Irrelevant ultimately to the defeat of Buu. And it's just so many plot points picked up and then just kind of abandoned midway through.
Yeah.
A bunch of MacGuffins and the Z sword or whatever.
They ran that poor guy out of ideas.
Yeah, just beat him into the dirt.
They wouldn't let him stop writing it. I can't even imagine. Well, yes, I can. Never mind. But I get why Toriyama was I'm sure they were just saying to him, if you stop writing this manga, our whole magazine will disappear.
Right, you will be single-handedly responsible for the death of Shonen Jump.
Yeah. I mean, he is the most influential artist, I think, of our time. Period. I couldn't name an artist, a visual artist whose style has bled through more of culture than Akira Toriyama in like the last 30 years.
No, not at all. I mean, even Dragon Ball Z itself, I mean, Goku was an Olympic ambassador to the 2020 Olympic Games. Everyone forgets that because,
I didn't
COVID and all that crap. Everyone kind of even forgot the Olympics happened during 2020. But yeah, Goku was an official Olympic ambassador because that character is just so well known throughout the entire world.
That's crazy. How do you feel about Goku?
He's a cool character. I think he's kind of interesting in that he is the first example that I'm aware of having ever been exposed to what's called like the flat character arc. Because most people are familiar with like the positive and the negative arcs, right? Positive, things happen to the character and they become a better person for it. They become our heroes. And the negative, of course, things happen and they get bitter.
Spiral, suicide.
Right. Yeah, or turn villainous. But the flat character arc is events happen to this character, or let me back this up. The other two arcs are examples of like the world happening to the character and the character changing. But the flat character arc, the world happens to the character and then the world changes. Like, think of how many of Goku's best friends start off as his villains.
Right.
And I think that is really cool from like a writer's standpoint.
Goku almost does not change at all whatsoever.
Yeah.
All of Dragon Ball. He's the same guy. But the world is massively shifted by the fact of his existence has created all the Z fighters and created like the culture that can defend the Earth from a threat like a Boo.
Yeah, I mean, remember at the end of the Cell Saga, that's the reason why he decided to stay dead, rather than get wished back. He's like, no, things keep happening because of me. I'm just gonna hang out here and learn Super Saiyan 3 off camera.
It's like his existence, like being the challenge for others to rise to, is like too dangerous.
Right.
Like, if you're trying to beat Goku, that means you have to like kill.
You have to come. Yeah, you have to come to Earth to beat Goku.
Yeah, exactly. It'd be a big problem for everyone there.
I do think those characters really suffered like recently with like Dragon Ball Super. Just like blatant flanderization. Like he's become like stupid Goku.
Okay.
I don't like that trend that they're taking with him because he was always kind of like goofy and like naive. But he was never outright, like, dumb. I mean, I guess you could argue, like, giving Cell Senzu Bean wasn't the brightest move. But he had a method to his madness. In, like, the new series, though, he's just...
an idiot.
Yeah, an idiot.
A Homer Simpson type.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. I got that vibe off... I've only seen, like, the first episode of Super, but it was very, like, slice of life... almost like Simpsons-esque in that way. I'm like, these characters are going to exist forever. And like, here's the daily lives of them now. Who do you think...
Goku pulling turnips.
Yeah. Who do you think is like the most underappreciated Dragon Ball Z character?
So far as like plot development or like underutilized?
Not as popular as they could be based on how good you think they are. Or maybe one that like people don't talk about, like, oh, that's the cool guy, but you're like, that guy's cool. Could be a
that's
villain
a good
too.
question. I like that.
Obscure villains and stuff.
Launch. What the fuck happened to Launch? You remember her, like, from like the early Dragon Ball? The chick who, interestingly enough, I think she's the one who actually introduced transformation to the series. Like, before Frieza and Zarbon ever did it, and before, Super Saiyan. She was the one who would, like, sneeze, and then, go from, like, meek and mild to, like, machine gun toting, like, cigarette smoking bad bitch.
Yeah.
But yeah, she just kind of, like, drops off at one point.
Supposedly Toriyama just, like, forgot.
Yeah, he just completely forgot she existed. Yeah. That's the same reason that, like, Trunks and Goten didn't, like, age at all until, like, that new movie that just came out. Because he's like, oh, yeah, they're characters, aren't they? And he just forgot their ages, so he's like, I'll just draw them the way I last remember them being, like 8 or 9. No, that's embarrassing.
Do you have a favorite obscure villain? Well, I guess Launch counts as a villain, right?
I mean, kind of. I mean, she's like their buddy, though, isn't she, when she's not...
Yeah, like, I think so.
When she's not blonde and crazy.
Again, there is a lot of Dragon Ball, and I have not seen all of it. I've seen a lot of Z, like... tiny bits of GT, which I don't think is like canon anymore or something.
I have no idea what the status is with GT. Not gonna lie, like I'm familiar with how the story goes just from like reading up on it. But
you didn't watch it?
No, like a handful of episodes.
But you have watched Super.
I've seen all of the movies that have come out thus far, with the exception of the newest superhero.
Okay.
And then I've seen a handful of episodes. Most of it's been kind of like trot along with the movies, and then I follow along the manga online, but I don't really watch the series.
But you are keeping up with the manga, and the manga's like I don't even understand how that's working right now, right? So he's not writing it still, is he?
He's helping, to the best of my knowledge. I might be wrong, so if anyone wants to explode in the comments, sorry. I know he's definitely involved with the plot and the storyline, like blessing off on certain aspects. Mm-hmm. But I do know it's Toyotaro, I believe, is the new guy who's like stepped in and really helped out.
Okay.
I think he's doing a lot of the major heavy lifting now. Again, I might be wrong on that.
I mean, I would be shocked if Toriyama was doing a lot of heavy lifting at this point in his career. Not even just because of how famous and rich he is, but because he's old. Yeah. I would have to imagine he's quite old.
I can't imagine, like, being out, again, I don't know how old he is, like, well into his 60s, I imagine, at least. But, I can't imagine, like, pumping out a weekly series like that. I mean, everyone
who works for Shonen Jump is insane.
It's absurd, like... Nothing but respect for the grind, of course, but damn. Like
it really takes... Well, it takes just deciding, like, all I want to do is draw comics, and I'm not going to do anything else.
Right.
You know, and, like, everyone, like...
Sleep is for the weak, food is a crutch. I have art to create.
I always have to assume they're, like, doing it... I always want to think they have to be doing it for someone else because they don't have any time for themselves. Like, you can be a billionaire off of a Shonen Jump manga, and, like, I don't know what you could possibly be doing with the money. You know, like, you work all but, like, 2 hours a week or some shit like that. Like, their schedules are nuts. I mean, I guess it's all for a good retirement in the end, but...
love of the game, I guess, man. But what I love about...
But the guy who created Yu-Gi-Oh! Died snorkeling a month ago. So you can make all those billions and don't waste your life.
Still drown, apparently.
I wanted to say, like, don't waste your life creating Yu-Gi-Oh! Wait, that doesn't make sense. No, he had a great life. Maybe, I don't know. He's dead now.
He's dead now.
Rest in peace, Kazuki Nakashima.
So long. Thanks for my childhood, I guess. Yeah, Yu-Gi-Oh! Is another big influence on me growing up. Like the first season at least.
Yeah,
me too.
Everything.
Duelist Island, I think, or Duel Island.
Yeah. Everything from the Duel Island up through the Battle City with Kaiba is like I grew up with that.
Yeah, top tier. Then after they started getting into like dice games, I was like, I'm gonna go do something else.
I don't want to learn another game.
You're right.
To watch this show. On that note, what's maybe your favorite, like, not obvious Dragon Ball moment, like not like end of a major fight or anything like that, although that answer also can work, but
favorite moment from Dragon Ball Z, like, in general?
Yeah.
Well, when it comes to, like, just hype in general, Dragon Ball Super, Goku grinding up the is it Kefla or K? I can't remember. One of the other universe's Saiyans, like, grinding up her energy blast because they're not allowed to fly. And she, like, launches this massive beam at him. He just grinds up it using, like, one of his own and just, like point blank. That was
like a zipper getting, like, the beam is like...
Yeah, and he just, like, and just, like, pops her in the face with his. That was pretty gnarly.
That's cool.
And then when it comes to, like, narrative, I guess in the early Dragon Ball, when Goku first meets, I think it's Android 8. That's the one who looks like Frankenstein's monster. And it's like Goku's, really good buddy. He's just kind of like learning the concept of friends now. And then Android 8 dies. And just like Goku, like, of course, it's like, it's not a living being, but same as like, I thought it was a really great, moment for him as a character. Because up to that point, he's like all naive and kind of goofy. Like, oh, the world's all sunshine and butterflies. You can just run around like punching people in the face and life's great. Right. It's like, oh no, my robot buddy died. I thought that was a cool moment for him. And then also just how well it parallels later on with like Android 16 and Gohan. Mm-hmm. The same thing. Like, it's when Cell like curb stomps Android 16's head. That's when Gohan like finally snaps and goes Super Saiyan 2. So I think those are cool. And then
parallel.
Yeah. And then also the same, I don't know if it's the same issue in the manga, but in the same episode of the series that Cell first achieves perfect form is also at the very end is when Gohan first achieves Super Saiyan in the hyperbolic time chamber. So it's like, that is just such great foreshadowing. You know, it's like, oh wait, you're hyping up these two to fight because everyone assumes it's going to be Goku or Vegeta or Trunks or someone. It's like, oh no, wait, it's the kid who ran away crying in the Saiyan saga who's going to step up and you know, wreck house. I thought that was cool.
Dope shit. Well, that's all I have to ask you about Dragon Ball Z. Nick, you have a Medium page. Tell us about that.
That's correct. I have a Medium page. I'm publishing a bunch of my previously unpublished short stories. I'm also writing a account of a train hopping hitchhiking adventure I took a couple years back. I hopped freight trains and I hitchhiked from Pierce, South Dakota, down to Juarez, Mexico. It took about 3 weeks. Changed my life. So I've been writing an account of that. And then I also just started a Patreon as well. You can find me as Nicholas Monastere, NicholasMonastere. Come check it out. A bunch of my previously published stories whose rights were reverted back to me. A bunch of unreleased stories. Come check it out. Buy me a cup of coffee if you like it.
Dope shit. Everybody do that, and of course all of my links are down in the description below. Patreon, I rant about things, $5 or more, and at the end of the month I do a big live stream where I do all the rant requests that I got that month. Thanks again for watching, and never forget, anime forever.
Fuck yeah. Thank you, Trixie.